counselor, one of the most common questions I get from clients is, what debt should I pay off first? So we've sat down, we've done a budget, we know what they have available for their payments, and now we want to know, pardon me, just getting a little bit of feedback there, so I just need to turn off my speaker. So we've sat down with a client, we've done a budget, we know what sort of debt they have and what sort of income they have to support a payment. So now what we want to do is figure out the strategy for where to start, which debt to pay first. So that's what I want to talk about today. My name is Jason Krausert. I'm a debt counselor and couples financial wellness coach and founder of Couples Way to Wealth. Over the last 4 years, I've worked with close to 1,500 clients one-on-one to move them towards the freedom and peace of mind that comes from being debt-free and being savings rich. So which debt to pay first? So there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's more what your personal priorities are. So there's generally three kind of accepted approaches, if you will. And it all depends on what your priorities are. So the first way is if you're interested in saving money. So your main priority is just to reduce your cost. It makes the most sense to start with your highest interest debt, particularly, with credit cards. That's typically, they could be in the 20-25% range. So it makes a lot of sense to start with those debts, put the bulk of your whatever money you have available for debt onto that credit card, whatever it is, and then pay minimums on the other debts. As that higher interest debt is paid off, then you can take the payments you were putting onto that higher interest debt, move it onto the next highest interest debt. Pay off that one, move those payments onto the next highest interest debt. So you're paying minimums on everything except the one debt that you're focusing on to pay that off. And that's the same process for whichever method you choose. The second way is if you're mostly interested in it's kind of a psychological thing that you want to just see you're making progress and motivate yourself and keep moving forward. Start with your lowest balance debt. So that's the one that you're going to pay off the fastest. You're going to cross it off your list. You're going to feel good about it, and that's going to motivate you to go to the next one. Start at the lowest balance, focus your payments there, minimums on everything else, and then once that's done, move that payment to your next lowest balance card, and then continue until everything's paid off. The third way is everyone has one of those debts that have just been around forever. It's just gnawing on them. It's a bother. It may not be the highest interest, may not be the lowest balance. It's just a debt that they want to get rid of. And so that one is the one that you pay off if you just want the peace of mind. So could be a credit card that you've had since you were in high school. It could be a debt that came from something that you just wish you hadn't done. Whatever it is, you just want to focus your payment on that card, get that one done first, or on that line of credit or payday loan or whatever it is, get it paid off, set it aside, and move on. So again, focus all your payments on that debt, minimums on everything else, and once that debt's paid off, then choose which one you want to pay next. Now, there's always exceptions because it's based on what you want. So there are times, in fact, last week, I just had a client where we went through the debt situation and had one, I believe it was a line of credit. That was about $11,000 balance. And then, about $11,000 balance. And then, the other debts were kind of ranged between $3,000 and $6,000, let's say. The line of credit had about, I think it was about a 7% interest. The other, there were a few other credit cards that were in the 20 to 25% range. But because there was such a difference in the balance, now I didn't do the numbers with the client. We didn't have time to actually go through the numbers, but one of the approaches that this client could have taken is to start with the highest balance, because the interest, although it wasn't the highest interest rate, still over time, if that had been set on the back burner, that interest would have grown, and because on a high interest debt, and probably would have been more expensive over time. So this is a variation the save the money approach, where you're focusing on the highest balance rather than the highest interest. Those are the three main ways. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever works for you, whatever's going to give you the most peace of mind and have you feel like you're making the most progress towards your goals. So what I'd love you to do is just go to my Facebook page, Couples Way to Wealth, like that page, and I send these weekly broadcasts out Wednesday morning at about 9 a.m. So you'll get those notifications, and I'd love to see you here. Just double checking my notes to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. No, looks like I've covered it. So hope you have a great day, and just take the next step. Bye-bye.